Welcome to Business Book Daily. Today I'm breaking down The Effective Executive by Peter Drucker, a classic management book about turning limited time, attention, and authority into meaningful results. I'll cover the big idea, the practical business lesson, and 3 sharp insights you can use right away. Let's get into it. But first, a word from our sponsor. Want to sell more without adding fixed payroll? A lot of smart operators hire commission-only reps, experienced sellers who get paid only when they produce results. If that sounds like a smarter way to scale, post your opportunity at commissiononly.com. Thousands of motivated reps are actively looking for performance-based roles right now. Commissiononly.com. Today's book is The Effective Executive by Peter Drucker. Drucker was a management thinker, author, and teacher whose work helped shape modern ideas about leadership, knowledge work, and organizational effectiveness. This edition also includes a foreword by Zachary First and an afterword by Jim Collins. Those editions give the book modern context, but Drucker remains the sole author, and his ideas remain the main focus. The central argument is that effectiveness isn't a personality trait. It isn't something reserved for charismatic leaders, natural organizers, or brilliant strategists. Effectiveness is a set of habits that can be learned and practiced. Executives become more effective when they understand where their time goes, focus on contribution, build around strengths, concentrate on a few priorities, and make decisions through a clear process. That matters because being busy isn't the same as being effective. Executives can spend an entire day answering messages, attending meetings, approving small requests, solving urgent problems, and reacting to other people's priorities. They may work hard and feel exhausted without creating much lasting value. The problem is that their time is being controlled by events instead of results. Drucker asks leaders to begin with a different question. What results does the organization actually need from me? Once that answer becomes clear, the executive can protect time, focus attention, make stronger decisions, and use other people's abilities more intelligently. One of the book's most practical lessons is to know where your time goes. Most people don't use their time as carefully as they believe. They remember the important meeting or major decision, but they forget the small interruptions, repeated conversations, unnecessary approvals, and routine tasks that consume the rest of the day. Drucker recommends recording how time is actually spent before trying to improve it. That means tracking meetings, calls, email, planning, customer work, approvals, interruptions, and problem solving. The goal isn't to create a perfect schedule. It's to replace assumptions with evidence. Once the time record is visible, leaders can ask which activities should disappear, which can be shortened, which can be combined, and which should be handled by someone else. It can also identify the work that deserves larger blocks of uninterrupted attention. Important decisions, hiring, strategy, planning, and writing rarely happen well in scattered 15-minute intervals. When a leader's calendar is broken into tiny pieces, the most important work is often pushed aside by whatever feels most immediate. The answer isn't simply to work longer. It's to protect time for the work that carries the greatest consequences. The next major idea is to focus on contribution. Effective executives don't begin by asking how busy they should be or how much authority they have. They ask what they can contribute to the organization's results. Contribution might mean making better decisions, developing stronger people, improving customer value, clarifying priorities, or building a process that works without constant executive attention. This shifts the leader's focus away from activity and toward outcomes. Attending a sales meeting is an activity. Improving conversion rates is a result. Viewing customer complaints is an activity. Reducing preventable cancellations is a result. Holding performance reviews is an activity. Helping employees become more capable is a result. Distinction sounds simple, but it changes how leaders use time. Full calendar may look impressive while hiding the fact that little is improving. Contribution-focused executive measures success by what becomes better because of their work. Another important idea is to build on strengths. Drucker doesn't expect leaders to create perfect employees. He argues that the executive's job is to make strengths productive. Every employee has weaknesses. The important question is whether their strengths can produce results the organization needs. Gifted salesperson may struggle with detailed administration. Strong analyst may not enjoy public speaking. Skilled engineer may not be suited to managing a large team. Effective leaders don't ignore weaknesses, but they don't allow one weakness to erase several valuable strengths. They design roles, teams, and responsibilities so people can spend more time doing work where they create the most value. This also matters when promoting employees. Someone who performs well in one role won't automatically perform well in another. Strong salesperson may not be a strong sales manager because selling and managing require different abilities. For promoting anyone, define what strengths the new role requires and choose the person whose abilities match the work. Another major lesson is concentration. Important work requires focus. When leaders spread time, money, and attention across too many projects, none receives enough support to succeed. This is especially common in growing companies. Every idea sounds promising. Every department has a request. Every customer issue feels urgent. Every opportunity appears to deserve immediate action. The result is a long list of priorities, which usually means there are no real priorities. Effective executives decide what matters most. They also decide what will wait and what should stop. That second part is critical. New priority isn't real unless something else receives less attention. Drucker's approach encourages leaders to review old projects, reports, meetings, and services regularly. Ask whether you would begin each activity today knowing what you know now. When the answer is no, redesign it or end it. Organizations become slow because yesterday's work continues while new work keeps being added. A quarterly stop-doing review can free time, money, and attention without requiring the company to work harder. The book also offers a disciplined approach to decision-making. A strong decision begins by defining the real problem. That sounds obvious, but leaders often respond to symptoms. Falling sales might come from weak demand, poor targeting, bad service, pricing, product quality, or slow follow-up. Each cause requires a different response. If the company solves the wrong problem, it may waste money and make the situation worse. Drucker also asks leaders to decide whether a problem is common or unique. Common problem needs a system, rule, or policy. A unique problem may need a one-time response. Treating repeated issues as exceptions forces executives to solve the same problem again and again. For example, one late customer payment may require a direct conversation. A pattern of late payments may require a stronger billing process, clearer terms, or better credit checks. The decision process should also define what the solution must accomplish. For comparing options, identify the conditions the answer has to satisfy. Those conditions might include budget, timing, customer impact, legal requirements, quality standards, or available staff. And consider more than one serious option. Leaders often become attached to the first reasonable answer. Comparing alternatives exposes assumptions and makes the final choice stronger. Thoughtful disagreement also improves decisions. The goal isn't to create conflict. It's to make sure risks, missing information, and different interpretations appear before the company commits. Leaders surrounded by fast agreement may be receiving less honesty than they think. But a decision isn't complete when the meeting ends. It becomes real only when someone owns it. Teams should know who is responsible, what happens next, when it must happen, and how the result will be reviewed. Decision without ownership and a deadline is only a discussion. So how do you put these ideas into practice? Start by tracking your time for 2 weeks. Use simple categories: record meetings, calls, email, planning, customer work, approvals, and interruptions. Don't rely on memory. At the end of the period, review what consumed the most time and compare it with the results your role is supposed to produce. Look for activities that can be removed. Some meetings can disappear. Some reports no longer matter. Some approvals exist only because they always have. Eliminate work that doesn't improve customers, employees, compliance, or results. Next, identify work someone else can handle well. Delegation isn't about pushing unwanted tasks onto another person. It's about matching responsibility with ability. When capable employees own appropriate decisions, leaders gain time for work that truly requires executive judgment. Protect larger blocks for important work. Put strategy, planning, hiring, writing, and major decisions on the calendar before routine demands consume every open hour. Treat that time as seriously as a customer meeting, then define your contribution. Write down the 3 most important results your role should produce over the next 6 to 12 months. Use outcomes instead of activities. Connect those outcomes to what customers, employees, investors, or partners need. Then compare your calendar and budget with those priorities. If the most important work receives the least attention, the plan isn't real. Choose a small number of priorities. Explain what will receive attention now, what will wait, and what the organization will stop doing. Employees can't focus when leadership changes direction every week or treats every request as urgent. Clear priorities also make trade-offs visible. Create a quarterly stop-doing review. Examine projects, reports, services, meetings, and approval steps. Ask whether each one still creates enough value to justify the time and money it consumes. Don't keep weak work alive simply because the organization has already invested in it. Build roles around strengths. When assigning work, ask who is most likely to produce an excellent result. Make employees' strengths clear during performance conversations. Tell people where they create the most value and where those abilities should be used more often. Manage weaknesses realistically. Some can improve through training or support. Others are better handled by adjusting responsibilities or pairing people with complementary abilities. The goal isn't to pretend weaknesses don't matter. It's to avoid building a job around work someone repeatedly performs poorly. Improve meetings by giving each one a purpose, owner, and expected outcome. When a meeting exists only to share updates, consider replacing it with a written report. Into every decision meeting by confirming who will do what and by when. That one habit can prevent hours of repeated discussion. Find the real problem before proposing a solution. When an issue keeps returning, ask whether it's being treated as a one-time exception when it actually needs a permanent system. Before choosing an answer, state what the solution must accomplish. Then compare serious options and invite disagreement. Once the decision is made, assign responsibility, define the next step, set a deadline, and establish a review point. Use feedback to learn whether the decision worked. Effective executives don't assume every choice will remain correct forever. They adjust when new information appears. Make room for opportunities as well as problems. Problems demand attention because they feel urgent. Solving a problem often restores the business to its previous condition. Opportunities create stronger products, better people, new growth, and competitive advantage. Keep a short list of the company's best opportunities. View it alongside the problem list. Reserve time and strong people for opportunity work instead of allowing every resource to be consumed by emergencies. Measure effectiveness through results. Long hours, fast replies, and full calendars don't prove that important work is moving. Ask whether customers are better served, decisions are stronger, employees are becoming more capable, and major goals are advancing. Finally, treat effectiveness as a practice. Time management, contribution, strengths, priorities, and decision-making require regular review. Executives don't become effective through one dramatic change. They become effective by repeating useful habits until those habits shape how the organization operates. Here are 3 insights worth sharing. First, a full calendar can hide weak leadership. Effectiveness begins when executives protect time for the few decisions and contributions that matter most. Second, strong leaders don't spend their careers trying to repair every weakness. They place people where their strengths can produce results the organization actually needs. Third, a decision isn't complete when the meeting ends. It becomes real when ownership, action, deadlines, and feedback are clear. Today's closing sponsor is memoirghostwriting.com. Many of the best business books start as ideas leaders have been refining for years. Memoirghostwriting.com works with founders, executives, and industry experts to turn those ideas into polished business books that build authority, attract leads, and open doors. They handle everything from interviews to writing to editing to publishing. If there's a book in your head that should already be helping your business, learn more at memoirghostwriting.com. That's it for today. See you next time.